Hi, we don't know each other, and this is a sales call, but a well-researched one. Do you mind if I briefly explain why I called?
Yeah, go for it.
Basically, I've noticed that you've got quite a big and strong outbound team, and when I speak to other head of sales enablement, they finding themselves still facing a couple of problems. And the first one is that the people are a bit reluctant to pick up the phone, and they much prefer to hide on emails and LinkedIn instead of making calls like this. Or alternatively, they do pick up the phone, but they come across a bit awkward and don't challenge objections. And either way, that's basically resulting in a not so strong pipeline. Uh, but you might tell me you've got the best cold callers in the country already, and then I can let you get on with your day.
I wonder how many people actually say they do. We don't. We don't have the best cold callers at all. I say both of those challenges are relevant to us.
Okay, fair enough. And just to give you a little bit more context, out of the two, which one do you think is the most urgent for you?
Probably the objection piece.
Okay. So when you said the objection piece, could you just give me an example of what that looks like in your world?
Yeah, we have a lot of people well, we have a fairly inexperienced team who are experienced cold callers. And so they hear a no and just take it as a no.
Ooh, right. Okay. Okay. So like, and the no could be like a very simple, like sometimes it's not even a no. Maybe it's like send me an email and then they'll give up there and then. Is that what's
Yes.
happening?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Understand. And do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions just to see whether this is relevant?
Yeah, go for it.
So when you say that obviously they're giving up on objections quite easily, what does that mean for the overall organization then?
Um, to be honest, it's not having a huge impact at the minute. We are still quite a heavy inbound business, and so
Nice.
our outbound motion is kind of growing, but it's not having a huge impact in terms of tangible results at the minute.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like even though this is a problem, it's not really a priority then at this point.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. 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 I understand. And just to clarify, for obviously for the future of the way in which you're going, is then like something put into place to fix these issues, or you're just kind of waiting for the time when it's going to be right to fix them?
No, we're working on some we're working on kind of putting in place some programs and training, some on-demand content, all of that kind of fun stuff. So that we're building it so that when it then becomes a priority, we start working on it. But yeah, so we are building it. We're just not rolling it out quite yet.
Okay, okay. So it sounds like you've got quite a good position because if I get it correctly, you already are predominantly inbound. You're building an outbound function, but you don't really have a need for that to be working too quickly. And at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the work in the background to just by the time that's rolled out, that's ready to go. Basically, you'll be able to roll it out. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay. I do have a cheeky question, if I can, on what you mentioned, though.
Okay, go for it.
Is it possible that then the people that you currently have are going to be developing bad habits in the meantime and it'll be harder to fix them later?
That's a good question. So at the minute, we have a small enough team that I can do one-to-one coaching with them, and I don't need to roll out anything kind of larger scale.
Okay.
So whilst we're not prioritizing this as a kind of a team-wide focus, I have the bandwidth to kind of one-on-one coach the individual.
Nice, nice. Okay, okay. So you put something together in the meantime that although it's costing you time, it's not really in that position that's really making your life too hard, I guess. Then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So look, I don't want to bore you too much. This doesn't sound like a massive priority for you at the moment. If I mention that I'm specifically a cold calling trainer, and I'm typically brought in to fix these two problems, would that be something that you'd be interested in exploring further?
Potentially, but not at the moment. As I say, it's not something that is a priority for us at present. And we are a fairly small, well, I am a one-man band in enablement, and we're a fairly small kind of sales team. So we are limited on what we have the kind of bandwidth and resource to roll out and focus on, whether that's run internally or externally. So it's not something that we have capacity for at the minute, but might be something we could revisit in the new year.
Okay. That's honestly that's the answer I expected after what you told me. So that makes perfect sense. And so, what would you, just to send perhaps over some content that might help you in your mission? Is there, so apart from the objection, is there anything else that you're struggling with particularly?
I think that's the main thing at the minute. We, as I said, we have a fairly small team of who are kind of actually calling outbound. And so one of them is excellent, one of them is kind of developing. And so I think it is just on that kind of objection piece that's the key.
Okay, understood. So if I were to send over some content that might help you in that journey, would that be the type of thing that would help a further conversation later on?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect. And I'm also going to drop you a connection request on LinkedIn so you can, I post videos about cold calling on a regular basis, so you'll have an idea. I do have one last question before I go, if I can.
Yeah, of course.
What's your favorite dessert?
Good question. Probably creme brulee.
Okay, so I'm going to put that both in the connection request as well as the email, so you remember this conversation a bit more easily.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, I'll give you a call back in January. You have a great day.
Wonderful. And you, thanks so much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.